All right, you guys. So, Ticket TV, like, share, and subscribe as y'all tap on in. Appreciate everybody that show love and support the channel. Y'all already know what it is, man. Um, and let's get right into this video, man. Now, so you guys who don't know what's going on, it's been a series of events that have went on lately behind the scenes, and in these series of events, there has been uh, apparently a new police investigation we've been telling y'all about. Now, amidst that new investigation, uh, amidst that new investigation, um, it came against Diddy and also Biggie Small's son, C.J. Wallace, and another man named Willie Mack were accused as being accomplices or witnesses to the situation. Right now, Notorious Big son, C.J. Wallace, came out and he denied these allegations, and he filed a lawsuit against the man making the accusations, Jonathan Hay, saying that he's a liar and that this stuff didn't happen. Jonathan Hay also made remarks saying that you know Biggie's son basically told him that Biggie was homosexual, he was gay, right? And so Jonathan Hay basically went on the record saying that Biggie was the greatest homosexual rapper of all time. Now, um, yesterday, on last night on the news, there was, and this has been a big news story, as all the major media outlets have been picking up this story. But I was wondering, and I had wondered, what type of evidence or anything this dude had to corroborate any of his stories, with the things that he was saying. Well, yesterday, there was a news report on CNN. Now, all the major media networks have been reporting on this story, on this new investigation by the LA Sheriff's Department into Diddy. Now, me personally, at first, I didn't know if it was going to go anywhere because of everything that had been, just, how things have been going. And I didn't know if this dude had any, evidence. Like I know he was made claims, but I had to look into the situation. Well, yesterday he went on CNN, and on CNN, they actually presented some of the alleged evidence that he gave to the police to corroborate his presence. Now, the day he claims that Diddy uh, sexually assaulted him and shoved his penis in his mouth, um, he has entered this into the evidence. He gave photos to the police to corroborate that he actually have links to C.J. Wallace, Biggie's son, Diddy, and that he was collaboratory in this project this day. Now, the photo you see on your screen, he gave one of these photos that he turned into the police. Now, if you see in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, it says evidence photo, right? Now, this photo is one of the photos he gave to the cops uh, to prove, and he said this was taken the day this happened, and that this was in Biggie's actual clothes. So I guess Diddy and them allowed him, he alleged, to try on Biggie's clothes, because remember he said this happened in a warehouse where they had a lot of Biggie clothes that was stocked up. Now I'm gonna let y'all hear what was said on CNN, and then we're gonna go. Well, you know what? Yeah, then we're gonna go talk about exactly the police report, the evidence, and why Diddy. To be honest with y'all, Diddy may have some serious things on his hand with this case, and I'm gonna tell y'all why.
A warning off the top here. The details in this CNN exclusive are disturbing. Elizabeth Wagmeister spoke with the man at the center of a brand new investigation into Sean Diddy Combs. Jonathan Hay is the accuser's name. He claims that Sean Diddy Combs sexually assaulted him in 2020. He laid out his case in a civil lawsuit, and now the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is investigating. And again, a warning, this interview includes graphic details that may be distressing to some viewers.
Violated me like I've never been violated.
Jonathan Hay. In his first TV interview since the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department opened a new investigation into allegations that Sean Diddy Combs forced Hay to perform oral sex on him.
Somebody's listening, and I feel like I'm so close to justice. Finally.
Hay, a music publicist and producer, says his first incident with Combs came in 2020 when they collaborated on new music honoring Biggie, the late rapper Notorious B.I.G. This is Hay, modeling Biggie's actual clothes, a photo he says he gave to the police, taken on the day he says he found himself alone with Combs.
He took a phone call, sat down, I could hear like sex noises. He was really like masturbating. This goes on for a few minutes. I just like want the whole thing, to be over. And next thing you know, he ejaculates into one of Biggie's shirts. So his shirt, it was like, rest in peace, Big.
Hay, in this police report, says that he kept the incident to himself, but it began to eat at him and eventually told Biggie's son, CJ Wallace, who was collaborating with him on the new music.
I finally got that off my chest after almost a year.
But Hay told police that the dynamic of the partnership changed. In March 2021, Hay went for what he thought was an interview for Combs' Revolt TV. Instead, he says he was taken to a house where Combs entered the room.
Chaos erupted, and he was screaming at me. He was in a rage, and that's when he violated me.
Hay told police Combs stuck his penis inside of his mouth. Hay says he pulled away, but Combs pulled his head back and allegedly did it again, approximately 3 to 4 times. What was going through your mind in that moment?
Shock, like blur. I didn't know if I was going to die at that point. It's the first time in my life where I felt suicidal.
Combs' attorneys told CNN Mr. Combs categorically denies as false and defamatory all claims that he sexually abused anyone. In July, Hay filed a civil suit against Combs and Wallace, Biggie's son. Wallace is now suing for defamation, claiming Hay became irate at the decision to not release the remainder of the songs that Hay had produced and retaliated. His attorney adding, the allegations will be shown to be complete fantasy.
CJ knows what's happened. He was there.
Combs is now serving 4 years in federal prison. Hay hopes that his case will add to that.
Now, let me say this to y'all, and this is why I think that this may be real big trouble for Diddy. Because she said in that interview with CNN that CJ Wallace basically acknowledged they knew this guy. So he puts himself in a situation where nobody can say he didn't know them. And he presented photos to the police from the day he claims this situation happened that he had in Biggie Smalls' actual clothes. That's one of them I put on the screen right there. Now, here's the situation with Diddy, right? So Hay, who had filed these claims this month in the LA Sheriff's Department, Special Victims Bureau, they're now actively investigating these claims, which stem from the incidents that allegedly occurred that we just talked about. Now, the investigation, as we know, was triggered by the police report that he filed in September of this year with the Largo Police Department in Florida, where he resides, which was forwarded to the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department due to the location of the alleged assaults. Now, he has also filed a civil suit, as they told y'all, right, against Diddy in the Los Angeles Superior Court, right, accusing him of the sexual battery, false imprisonment, and, all other things that we talked about, right? So, check it out. This is the crazy part right here, y'all. And this is where it gets, man, bro. This is where it gets real sticky for Diddy, right? In this case, for Sean Diddy Combs, and this is the reason why Diddy may see a new criminal case with this guy. And then, like I told y'all, if he sees a new criminal case, this is going to be on TV. It's going to be a televised because this is a state case. This will definitely be on court TV. This will be televised if he gets charged and goes to trial, which I'm starting to think from what the things that I read about this case may end up happening. I'm going to tell y'all why. There's no proof beyond a reasonable doubt that's needed up front to charge Diddy. So to file the charges, I should say, right? So to file the charges, the prosecutors, like the LA County Sheriff Department, right, or the attorney's office, they only need probable cause, a reasonable belief based on available evidence that a crime occurred and that the accused person, Diddy, committed that crime. Now, this is a low bar, y'all, that's compared to the beyond reasonable doubt standard used at a trial. Now, probable cause can come from this man's sworn statement or testimony, corroborating details, meaning timeline, locations, or physical evidence, photos he had presented, like I told y'all, to the cops for this investigation that proved that he was there and he was linked in with these guys. Patterns of behavior. Diddy's, for example, Diddy's prior convictions for related offenses, like 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution from his July 2025 federal trial, which involved drug-fueled sex sessions known as freak-offs, right? Also, Jonathan Hay, the victim's testimony in these type of cases, is often enough to get Diddy charged. In sexual assault cases, convictions happen regularly without video or third-party witnesses. For example, the vast majority of sexual assaults, in our words, occur in private. So the law prioritizes the victim's account as primary evidence. So juries or judges evaluate the credibility based on consistency, detail, and corroboration of this man's story, not perfection. So the statutes of limitation for sexual assault in California are up to 10 years for many felonies, or longer if DNA evidence emerges. Now, so it also allows older claims like Jonathan Hayes that happened, I guess, in 2020 something, to go forward. Now, the investigation also builds the case, so the LA Sheriff Department's probe could lead to charges if they find significant or sufficient, probable cause. This might involve interviewing Jonathan Hay further, searching for forensic evidence, like the alleged shirt that had the stuff on it, subpoenaing records like texts, travel logs showing that Jonathan Hay traveled from here to there to put him in that area that day that he said he was there, right? So, or text messages he may have from the phone company to show I talked to this person. They told me to go there. See, these are all things I never thought about that people had to think about. Diddy may be in real fucking trouble because the phone company, they never lose this shit. All he got to do is have his number. So if he got that number that he had, and he could show that they texted him and told him to come here and this, that, and the third, or meet up, or we gonna be here, and he can show that he was in a certain place, or he might have a flight log that showed he went from Miami or wherever he was living to California to do that show with Diddy. I mean, to do the what you call it with Diddy at the warehouse, go through the big clothes and stuff like that. If he can show all these things, I'm telling y'all, this is the type of stuff that he is, you know, that is making me think that this case may go forward. Now, also, it says that even they'll probably question, and they are going to question, Biggie's son, C.J. Wallace. Now, C.J. has already denied this, but C.J. has admitted that they work with Hay. C.J. saying, oh, well, he's mad because we didn't go forward with the project. But the fact that CJ acknowledged that this dude was working with them, if the date that this dude said that this happened, if he can show text messages or phone calls that show him and CJ still had contact, because remember, he said that CJ Wallace, he said that after the first situation happened with Diddy, when Diddy bust on the t-shirt and threw it on her with all of the juices on it. He said that after that day he didn't want to come back. He left it alone for almost a year, and then him and CJ had contact, and then he went back. CJ hit him, I guess he said, and then he went back to they was gonna finish working on that project. Because remember, he said he told CJ what Diddy did, and that CJ called off the whole Biggie project. But then he said CJ contacted him again almost a year later, and then he went back out there, and that's when he said CJ lured him in and set him up to be, sexually assaulted by Diddy. If he can prove through his phone records that he called CJ Wallace called him and this says that, bro, that's gonna be real sticky. That right there. Listen, I'm telling y'all this right now. All he got to do is have that number. They go right to the phone company. So now also you got the details of Hayes' allegations and available evidence potentially in this case. So Jonathan Hay, who was a veteran, this is something else that's gonna help him. He's a veteran music producer and a publicist. Now he claims that he met Diddy through a collaboration with CJ Wallace on the project involving Biggie's memorabilia. So he's already proven that because he's got the clothes and he's got CJ even acknowledging that he knew that guy. Now CJ is denying that this happened, but CJ's acknowledging that he knew him and that they were doing work together at some point in time. Now, right? So he claims he met CJ on a collaboration, right? For Big involving his memorabilia, meaning his clothing being donated to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, he provided the police with photos and videos as corroboration to his story, not of the assaults themselves, but proving the professional contacts and his access to Diddy. Images from the music sessions and the warehouse where the first incident allegedly happened. This is crazy, y'all. This is the stuff they said he provided to the police. This helps, according to the report, establish opportunity and motive, countering any "it never happened" defense. This is crazy, bro. So in February 2020, the incident he said in the LA warehouse, he alleges that Diddy distributed drugs to the group. Now, what the police gonna do? They're gonna go see if that warehouse existed. They're gonna go ask around and find out if that warehouse existed. If that warehouse existed, man, this is gonna get real ugly, yo. I'm trying to tell y'all, this nigga going back to trial. In my opinion, they gonna charge his ass again. In my opinion, if they verify this stuff. So he alleged that in this warehouse, Diddy distributed drugs to the group. Here's the question: can they find anybody else who was there? Do we have any other corroborating witnesses that say, yeah, I was there. Diddy gave me this. That's gonna tell the police that. These are things we don't know. We're going to find out very soon. This is the type of stuff that comes up in court in criminal cases, right? So then he said that Diddy masturbated in front of him while wearing Biggie's clothes, right? Diddy reportedly said, "Rest in peace, Big," on the shirt and threw it at Jonathan Hay, right? Asking him to finish him off. Now, Hay says he froze in shock and didn't comply. Now, there was no video of that part where he said that Diddy did that. He has no video of Diddy, doing that on the shirt and throwing it at him. But his detailed account, according to the reports, including the unique Biggie element, could be tested for credibility in court. Now, March 2021 incident in the Los Angeles location. So he claims that CJ Wallace lured him to a meeting. Well, how can he prove that? How was CJ Wallace get in contact with him? Email, phone call. Emails never go away. So if in March 2021, which is a year later, if he proves that CJ Wallace did contact him, because CJ said in his suit that Jonathan Hay was mad that they didn't want to use him no more for the project. But if he proves that, hey, they did contact me a year later through phone records, email, text messages, records that would easily be proven if you contacted this person or not, especially if you sent him a text. Because people don't be thinking in the times and stuff happen. You may say, yo, come through, nigga. Whatever, whatever, whatever. They can prove that those text messages, phone calls was him, bro. This shit is a problem. I'm telling y'all, this shit end up in court, man. Hay claims that Biggie's son lured him to a meeting where others placed a bag over his head. Now, Diddy then allegedly accused him of being a snitch, cleared the room, and forced him to perform oral sex multiple times. Again, there was no video of this incident that he presented or eyewitnesses, but he reported feeling suicidal afterwards and contacted the police back in 2021. See, that's going to be major. I'm going to repeat myself again. He reported feeling suicidal afterwards and contacted the police back in 2021. But there were no charges that were filed in 2021. But now they're investigating this. Now, the bag over his head detail aligns with patterns in other Diddy's allegations, meaning coercion and isolation, right? Now, again, Diddy's team has, denied these allegations, right? Now, why could this lead to charges according to the report, even without having videos of the actual assault, alleged assault, or eyewitnesses? Because Jonathan Hayes' testimony, according to the reports, can be used as direct evidence. Now, if Jonathan Hayes testifies consistently, as he has in interviews and in a lawsuit, according to the reports, that is powerful because prosecutors could argue is corroborated by, one, his prompt reports, the 2021 police contact, and the 2025 filing, former filing, right? The photos and videos linking him to Diddy and CJ Wallace, and Diddy's federal conviction history, which showed a pattern of him using his business empire for coercion, drugs, and sex acts, potentially admissible as prior bad acts evidence under California law, Evidence Code 1101B. So there's no need for ironclad proof to charge Diddy. I want y'all to hear this because this is very important. 95%, let me say this again, and this is why I think this is a real big issue right here for Diddy. 95% of sexual assault cases lack forensic evidence, like DNA or video. Yet thousands lead to indictments annually per the RAINN data. Now, prosecutors, they weigh public interest, especially in high-profile cases like this one, where Jonathan Hay has said he's pushing for charges to seek justice for all victims. This is bad for Diddy. In a broader context, Diddy is already serving a 50-month federal sentence ending around 2028 with possible extensions. A state charge like sexual battery, a felony in California, which was already punishable from 3 to 8 years, could run with Diddy's sentences consecutively, adding time to his sentence if he's charged. It'd likely be under Penal Code 243.4, sexual battery, or 261, forcible R word. Now, the LA Sheriff's Department investigation is ongoing. A detective contacted Jonathan Hay on November the 18th. Let me repeat myself again. 4 days ago, a LA Sheriff's Department detective contacted Jonathan Hay on the right-hand side of your screen, according to this report, to confirm that he had been assigned to this case. Now, it could take weeks to a month to wrap this case up, or to wrap up this investigation, I should say, potentially leading to an arrest warrant or referral to the district attorney for formal charges against Sean John Combs. If Diddy is charged, he would face arraignment, discovery, and trial, where the burden shifts to the proof beyond a reasonable doubt, which means that Jonathan Hay would have to have evidence, phone, text, credible testimony, photos showing that he was there, along with witnesses, character witnesses, maybe other people that was in this presence of this, maybe other people that could confirm that this warehouse or this location did exist. These are other things that come up during a trial. So, right, the lack of video or witnesses to the actual R word does not block charges. Jonathan Hayes' detailed testimony, backed by contextual evidence, could be enough for probable cause. Diddy denies everything, and the truth will play out in court, not headlines. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Now, the reason why Jonathan Hayes' story could cause some real problems and cause new charges for Diddy very soon, where he would have to be in court, and this will be on TV, state of California. His allegations, according to the reports, contain very specific, bizarre details, right? And again, this is the picture that they showed on CNN in the upper right-hand corner. This is one of the pictures that he entered into evidence to the police, where he basically, that was Big's clothes. That was photo he claims was taken on the day that Diddy put his genitals in his mouth, was that day. Now you see it says in the upper right-hand corner, evidence photo, Largo Police Department. So that's the evidence. That's one of the photos that he gave the police that he took that day, because he was modeling, he was using modeling Biggie's clothes. He said that those were actually Biggie's actual clothes that he had on. He gave that to the police, right? And again, like I said, the police, what they gonna do? Flight records, phone call records, text messages, anything to corroborate he was there. Hotel records to corroborate he was in California that day he claimed that this happened. So it says his allegations contain very specific, bizarre details. The notorious B.I.G.'s clothing line, the quote-unquote rest in peace Biggie line that he said Diddy told him, the bag over the head, the semen on the shirt, throwing it on him. That would be unusual to invent out of whole cloth. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he's produced photos and videos that place him physically with Diddy and CJ Wallace in the exact settings and time periods that he describes, the warehouse and music related meetings, are very problematic. The broad pattern, the drugs, coercion, freak off style encounters, accusations of being a snitch, overlaps with multiple other accusers in federal indictment described about Diddy's behavior over many years. And the fact that he first contacted the police in 2021, right after he alleged that that second incident happened. And then again in 2025, which is consistent with someone who was traumatized rather than someone who only surfaced after Diddy was already in prison and lawsuits were piling up. Diddy got a problem. I'm telling y'all right now, me personally, I think they're going to charge him. I think they're going to charge him. He's going to be fighting in court in a trial. I think they're going to charge him. I think this dude, Jonathan Hayes, is going to have a lot of witnesses that's going to come up and speak up for him and his character. I think he's going to have people that's going to I think he's going to have evidence that actually show that the places he claims existed in court, that these places were. I think it's all going to come down to if they believe him or believe Diddy. That's what I believe is going to happen. Because when you don't have no DNA, now it's all about, do you believe the accuser or do you believe the person who made the claims? Let me tell y'all why. The NBA basketball player just went to prison off of R word when he said that the sex with the girl was consensual and she said it wasn't. The former Portland Trailblazers basketball player just went to prison 2 months ago because of that. But they gave him 8 years. He just got 8 years in prison. Macklemore, go look it up. Ben Macklemore just went to prison for 8 years. He got convicted. and he's gone to prison for 8 years, damn near a decade now, based off of her allegations. So it was her word against his word. He went to court, testified. She went to court, testified. They believed her. And now it's all going to come down to and this is in Cali. So now it's all going to come down to, do they believe Jonathan Hayes' testimony if this goes to trial, or do they believe Diddy's testimony? Because Jonathan Hayes, and like I said, it would be on court TV. And Jonathan Hayes, who's already, they said, presented photos and stuff like that that can put him in these places, and CJ Wallace, who denies it happens, but CJ Wallace did corroborate that he knew this guy and they were working with this guy at some point in time. Here's the problem. Did CJ Wallace tell the police something and then say something? Like, did CJ Wallace say, nah, this never happened? If CJ Wallace say this never happened and they never spoke or never met again, because I don't know what he may have told the police or what he may have said in his, I got to go look at his lawsuit, like, thoroughly. But if he said, yo, for example, if the police interview CJ Wallace, Biggie's son, and I don't know CJ, you know what I'm saying, from a can of paint, but if he said anything that's conflicting, any side, if Jonathan Hayes said anything that's conflicting, this could hurt either side. But for example, if CJ Wallace told them, yo, we cut off this dude, we didn't want nothing else to do with him after the first time. We told him that we're not doing the project is off, he was upset, blah, 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 and we didn't work with him no more. And then they go find out that there's text messages, phone calls, emails, or something a year later in March of 2021 when this man claimed this thing happened again. And it shows that he did contact Jonathan Hay, meaning CJ Wallace. Man, I think that shit going to court, bro. I think that shit going to court in California, bro. And if it goes to court, then CJ Wallace would have to get on the stand and testify. He would be subpoenaed in that case to get on the stand and testify under oath, because he would be a part of the charges. He would be charged too. Him and the other dude, Willie Mack. They could potentially be charged because he said that they were accessories to this crime. So they would have to go either as witnesses or charged as co-defendants and testify. Well, if they're a co-defendant, they don't have to testify, but it might, it depends on what the lawyer's thinking, whether or not they might force them to go testify. But Jonathan Hayes, you better damn well believe he's gonna testify, because it's gonna be one of those cases where if it's not DNA forensic evidence, he gonna testify on the stand. And then when you look at the Jonathan Hayes, he's probably gonna have witnesses, people who knew that he was working it here, or he may have, because they say it was other people there, he may have one or two people that was there that say, hey, he was there. He was in that place in March of 2021. I was there, he was there, but I wasn't in the same room. That corroborates him being there, right? Then if he have other witnesses that say, because I'm pretty sure if he goes to court, if this goes to trial, which I'm starting to think it's going to go, Diddy's going to get charged and it's going to go to trial. 95% of these type of cases don't have no DNA or witnesses. Think about it. I had to think about that. I never thought about that part, is that the sexual assaults, the R words, most of the times you have no witnesses. It's your word against their word. And if a judge or a jury believes their word, you go into prison. If they have enough corroborating evidence and they believe their word and they're known to be a credible person, this man can have all kind of people come up as character witnesses, right? So what Diddy and them would have to do is they would have to find a way to defame this man's character, to show people, oh, well, he's a liar. He's not a dude of good character. He's lying. But what he's probably going to do is get a ton of people to get on that stand and say, hey, man, Diddy did this to me. He allegedly did this to me. this type of thing. These are corroborating type of witnesses. Remember, y'all, that's what happened with R. Kelly. Them girls had all those other corroborating witnesses that went and got on that stand. And see, a state trial is going to be different than a federal trial. I had never seen these pictures until last night, until CNN did the interview with this guy. I never saw these pictures until CNN did the interview last night and showed that this man had entered, he had given the police photos and video evidence. I never knew he entered. I never knew he gave them any type of evidence. And I didn't know until yesterday that this man called the police in 2021 after he claims it happened. That's bad right there, bro. Because that doesn't show a guy who's capping just off the top. Because why would he call the cops in 2021 if he's not lying? Why would he call the cops in 2021 after that situation happened? Why would he call the police? Make it make sense. So I do think that in the next couple of weeks, because what's going to happen is, like I said, they're going to get corroboration on the places. The sheriff's department is going to get him to probably take him or take them to the locations where he claimed this stuff happened, meaning the warehouse. But he said the other location they put a bag over his head, right? So if he can describe the location where when the bag was taken off his head, where he claimed Diddy put the thing in his mouth and he was taken out, he didn't say they put a bag on his head when they took him out. So did they take him out and put the bag back on his head so he didn't see, or did he just leave out of there and he got to see where he was at? See, all these things are important. You got to pay attention to the details. And when you go to court, like I said, that's when all these different witnesses, character witnesses, people who may remember I told y'all in court the federal judge did not allow a lot of that stuff to be put into court as far as other witnesses and stuff like that. I told y'all that. Other people who had made claims and allegations against Diddy, didn't I tell y'all that? And these cats didn't want to listen. They said all these people was capping. I told y'all it wasn't capped. The judge held it out. Remember I told y'all this? All those other people, victim 1, victim 2, victim 3, this was Diddy's legal team that was writing this stuff saying why these people should not be allowed. And that saved Diddy. I'm telling you something. Diddy's lawyers did a great job of making sure these other victims who were not pursuing charges at that time were not allowed to speak in court. They did a great job. Because if all those victims and those redacted statements, and that's from Diddy's lawyers, they wrote it to the judge why they felt like those other victims should not be able to speak. Diddy's lawyers did a damn good job because that's what got R. Kelly convicted. I'm telling you, R. Kelly had like 30 something victims or witnesses going there, and he had so many people that was not even in this certain case that had allegations against him that went up on that stand that corroborated what his accusers were saying. That hurt him so bad in his case. That's what y'all got to remember. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. But in Jonathan Hayes' case, his situation could be different in his case, because if he can get people who have similar allegations against Diddy to come in that court, because they'll do it, and allow them to tell their stories and present whatever situation they had with Diddy, and it kind of goes along the line of what this guy's saying, and then they check his history. Does Jonathan Hay have a criminal history? Does he have a good history in the industry of being an honest, truthful person? He can bring character witnesses. Imagine if he gets other celebrities to come in and speak that he's worked for to speak on his character in court. That was a crazy stat. But when I thought about it, I was like, damn. Because at first I was thinking, you guys, I was like, nah, it ain't going to go nowhere because he ain't got he don't have physical evidence like the video or DNA. But when I looked it up, I was like, damn, most of these people in prison, they ain't even got DNA. A lot of these people that was charged, 95% of the people that was charged, it's not even about DNA. DNA seals your deal, 1,000%. But a lot of this is you against me testimony. And then it's on a jury to decide who they believe. I told y'all, Ben McLemore and the girl. So Diddy could come into court and say, nah, we had consensual sex. Jonathan Hay could say, no, it wasn't consensual. Now, what is it? It's on a jury to decide who they believe. Now, that's tricky. That's tricky, bro. That's tricky. I mean, this, like I said before, they're going to go to the records. So they're going to say, it will be a situation to say, well, if you guys didn't want to work with the guy, why would you have him back around a year later? Did Jonathan Hay have any type of proof, which he probably does if he's going to the cops, where he can show the cops, hey, they hit me back up, say, hey, we're going to come out here, we're going to work on this thing again. They called me up. Does he have the phone call record? Probably does. All you got to do is go give him the number to end in the phone company. They can go find all your info. Once you have a phone number, right? Once you have a phone number, you guys, whether you text formally or call or whatever, once you do that, you're in the system. So now you can't go back in time and erase that. All the cops got to do is have that number and go to the phone company. They can get all your texts. They can get all the calls, flight records. Who paid for the flight if he was out of state? Did Diddy pay for the flight? Did Jonathan Hay pay for? Who paid for the flight? Flight records. Hotel records. What hotel did you stay at? They go through the hotel records. This has only happened like 4 years ago. So they go right to the hotel. Hotel keeps all these records for years. Yo, did this person this at the third? Credit card record. That's all that stuff goes into the investigation, bro. And I'm telling y'all, bro, I got a bad feeling for Diddy, man. I think he's going for round 2. I told y'all, all these people celebrated in round 1. Bro, when John Gotti beat the feds, they didn't stop until they got him for life. I believe with Diddy, the cops, the feds, everybody, they can't stop, won't stop on his ass. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, subscribe, man. They're saying again, and you guys can go look on CNN at the interview. CNN is saying they're saying that's the exact outfit that he was trying on. They said that was Biggie's clothes. The same day he claims this happened in that studio warehouse, where he said they had all Biggie's clothes and they were donating them for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or whatever, and they was doing the project on the music. Y'all let me know what y'all feel, man. Hey, I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel, supporting the network. Like, share, and subscribe once again. There are links. Get the free membership on our website. That way you guys won't miss any of our news update stories or videos. They're all on the website, ticketvmedia.com. You go over there. You can go right to the members part and become a free member. That way you guys will get all the updates. Also, Straight Drought Weight Loss Formula. Make sure y'all go tap in and copy some of that, as well as subscribing to our podcast show. Link will be pinned at the top of the chat down there below. And also, we just appreciate all y'all who support the channel. Cash App, PayPal.